What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Oshi no Ko episode 7. As usual, timer-based reaction on YouTube, picture-in-picture version in the description below. So if you're still on YouTube, then grab your copy of the episode because the countdown for the timer-based reaction on YouTube starts now. I'm expecting that we are going to get a bit of an explanation as to why Aqua was there. Also, assuming that this episode we're going to be focusing on how to deal with those, I guess, quote unquote, social or internet comments, backlash. All right, we're getting a different angle. Aqua grabs her. Okay. All right, fair enough. Kind of late there, officer, but mm-hmm. For the first time, I think that's something that should also be taken into consideration. Love the reflection there on those shelves, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. As I mentioned, like first time getting that amount of hate is almost crazy to grasp. Okay, bringing back that. Mm-hmm. Time is money. Go to the toll. Yep. It's also very easy to shit on people when you're just typing it on a screen. Like you're not directly saying it at their faces. Mm-hmm. Everybody's always subject to criticism. Now they're getting the news. Look at the way she's shaking. Oh, the poor parent. Relatable. Hmm. Also cuts deep for him. Slap and give her a hug. Come on. There we go. Yeah, if word gets out that, the actual reception of the show could be in jeopardy if they realize that one of their members actually wanted to commit suicide because of what happened and all. There we go. Stick with it. Face the music. I can respect it. Like, now you know the dark side of it. Now you know what you are actually signing up for. You can adjust your resolve better and all. And then the news are out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this is gonna end. I'm going to predict that this is going to increase the amount of views that it gets. Like more people will be actually will be interested in the show now, which is crazy to think about it, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Basically, they're all sheep. Wonder if those accounts are actual accounts that they made for the show or for the story. Hmm. All right, making our own little production behind the actual production. Oh. Mm-hmm. All right, how do we convince them? Not entirely wrong. That's one way to put it. This is his, obviously, it's his adult self who's talking right now. 17 is that weird age where you're too old to be considered young, but you're too young to be considered old, if that makes sense. I love how we're cutting back and forth towards this exact spot where she almost committed suicide, kind of to juxtapose between like what they are doing, which is trying to prevent what could have happened in that spot. more, right? Because, stopping more that could have happened in that spot. It's gonna blow up. It's gonna blow up. It's gonna get viral. Just wait it out. And Akane is watching this. That's a lot. Yes, it did. Oh, look at how happy he is. How easy people turn. It's also one thing to realize how crazy it is. People will bash something and then immediately change their minds afterwards just because of one single video. Like, that is insane. It's insane because it is happening in reality. It's nuts. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes it is. Gonna get cancelled. The lie becomes the armor. No, you don't want to know what's inside his heart. Yo. Yeah, they're definitely trying to pair them up. Mm-hmm. Wonder if Akane is taking notes of this. But watch that Akane is able to pull it off. There we go. Yeah, watch Akane being able to pull it off and act just like I. She's determined. Oh, she's definitely gonna do it. It's something you're born with, and that's where things might be wrong. Because to me, I isn't born that way, because we see what I was before all of that, right? All of that is just an act. And that's the important thing. It's all of it, most of it is just an act, which means everybody can technically become I if they can and if they are willing. Because the real Ai is somebody that we do not know of until the very end when Ai mentions that she loves her children. Oh, now we're talking about the eyes. You're not gonna connect the dots for that Aqua had. Never mind. It's one of those things that I've been asking. Oh, she's getting into the role all right. Maybe a bit too much. Way too obsessive. In a creepy way. Yes, he did. Interesting that... I'll talk about it later. I'll talk about the eyes later. Yes, you would. We're gonna make a love triangle between them, are they? Hmm. Whoa. Theatrical world. Aqua in the back. She's gonna be a completely different character. Immediately changes. Definitely not creepy at all. Alright, so, what was it that I want to talk about? Oh yeah, the eyes. So, it's something that I've been talking about in past discussions on, like, the importance of, or I would say asking what the importance of her eyes are, and in relation to Aqua and Ruby. Because I was always asking, like, is it something that I was born with? Is it just a stylistic character design choice? Or does she actually have star eyes and people know that her eyes are like that? I feel like now it's more so symbolic than anything and not just the fact that her eyes are like that. Especially given with the end of this episode when Akane closes her eyes and then opening her eyes and then we get the reveal of those stars in her eyes, right? Much to Aqua's surprise. Again, I could be wrong, but I'm just now looking at it more as a... It's more symbolic than anything. Of, I guess, the star power, if I have to say. The star power of that character. Alright. But yeah, as I was saying, the eyes in the show, so far, at least from my own interpretation, is that it's either showing us the the stardom, I would say. I think that's like the most obvious one, but it's also showing kind of like a I would say it's showing who you are as that person, right? Because thinking about it, right, going back to how Aqua's eyes changes from time to time, from the light stars to something that is more dark and sinister, right? It's kind of also showcasing his own state of mind, I would say. Wasn't really thinking about it that much at the time, right? It's well, I mean, it still kind of gives off that vibe of like, oh yeah, he's planning something sinister. Not really sinister, but it gives off the vibe of something that is sinister, right? But obviously, he's trying to do this for the greater good. It's just the way he's doing it and the way he's kind of portraying himself as this really, really edgy character that is trying to solve this murder mystery and all. So now that we finally get another character, right, in the form of Akane. And the crazy thing about Akane is that the show reveals the eyes when Akane is portraying Ai, right? So I would say it's more like, again, like I said, right, the symbolic gesture of, or the symbolic meaning of this character is, what was it that I was saying? The symbolic meaning of this character is giving it their all. But there's also the other side of things where it's also showcasing the state of the character's mind, like with Aqua, for example. So I think it's a combination of both. And in the case of Akane, because she was looking at Ai, and I find it interesting, and I think it's a really good scene when when Akane was looking at these pictures, right? These images of Ai and trying to dissect and literally analyze the character, just like us, the audience, as we are trying to analyze and figure out who these characters are, right? Just through the screen. Really interesting that, again, like, even in images, we still see the star within Ai's eye in this image right here, right? Even though it's just a photo, but again, it's also the fact that when Akane was looking at it, and we are also focusing on her eyes, and it almost becomes this like obsession of trying to be this character, right? It's almost like when an actor is doing method acting, where they become the role, right? They become the role so much that they think that they are becoming the role, almost as if they are lying to themselves about who they are, because they are lying about, no, you are not Akane in this moment, you are I, right? It's pushing it to the extreme. It's almost the extreme case of an actor lying to themselves, because actors, they always lie. I mean, that it is their job. It is their job to lie to us, the audience, because they're playing a role. They're playing a character. They're not playing themselves. We're not seeing them as who they are. We are seeing them as a character, right? A role. It's not real. So it is interesting, fascinating, and I think it is also thematically great that we're also kind of tying that back into the fact that I lied to herself so much to become I, and that is something that I talked about during the reaction of, like, when Aqua said that, no, you need to be born with this, I would disagree with him. Because it's not like I was born with those talents. No, she lied to herself to portray those talents. These are not talents that I think I got, from birth, or from because she's just talented from a young age. No, she becomes talented because she wants to be, right? If I remember correctly, in the first episode, when we see that small little flashback glimpse of I and the one who's like recruiting her, of like, you can be this, you can be that, and I's like, no, I can't really do this, like, I'm a clumsy girl and all. And then look at her now, right? Stardom. And I feel like we're getting that similar situation with Akane, where once again, like I said, she is lying to herself fully. She is no longer portraying herself as Akane in this show. She immediately snaps and changes her persona completely into that of an imitation of I. It's crazy. You are portraying a person who is also a portrayal from another person, if that makes sense. Like, Ai is portraying herself to be this idol, and then Akane is trying to portray herself as this portrayal that Ai is creating. Yeah. It's fascinating. Like there's layers to the lies. It's again, like, it's almost scary the way Akane is approaching this. It's scary because she wants this. She wants this because, one, obviously it's going to supposedly make the show better, because it's also not really showing her true self. She's lying, but it's also to attract Aqua at the same time. And to be fair, Aqua is the one who did say and mention, like, oh yeah, this is my type of character that I love. This is my ideal woman. Technically referring to his mom, but I would say at that point he isn't really referring to his mom. He was actually referring to I, the idol. Like, I feel like there needs to be this separation between the mother and the idol. Because the mother is the one who loves their kids. The idol is the one that is always leaving her kids and performing on gigs and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between them. That's why I made a point of, like, do I really love my kids or not in the first episode? Because that is her questioning whether or not she is still an idol, or is she a mother to these kids? And by the end, her real self prevailed, and the idol image died with her. But Akane, though, yeah. Curious to see how this is going to develop more into the future. Curious to see how Aqua is going to handle this, because pretty sure when Aqua realized that who Akane is portraying, like, almost to a T, because of how much it does feel like I, right? Like, when you are watching this, it's clear that Akane, her voice, props to the voice actress, by the way, but, like, her voice, her mannerisms, it all completely changes. The moment she closes her eyes, let out her voice, and opens her eyes with the stars in those eyes, right? The almost, again, symbolic of her changing her own character from Akane to that of I. It would be interesting to see her and Aqua's dynamic more into the future. These two, I would say, is probably the characters that I am most interested in terms of, like, developing relationships, not necessarily becoming an actual couple, but more so as their relationship as characters within the show. Like, how is Aqua going to deal with the fact that this girl is lying to herself, but also portraying, like, the ideal person that Aqua loves, and how Aqua is, again, lying to herself in order to get, I guess, Aqua's approval or attention or love and affection, whatever it is, whether it is a fake one that is just specifically for the show, or would eventually become a real relationship later on because of the lie, which, again, also really interesting to note, if these two end up becoming together, they became together because of a lie. They fell in love probably because of the lie that they have created and the lie that they presented, and not who they truly are, which I find to be fascinating if that is the case. I'm sure if that is the case, then we're going to be exploring more about the fact that, yes, they kind of became together, or they see or are attracted to one another because of their portrayals of a character and not who they are themselves. And let us see how them actually being confronted with those actual selves be. Curious. Very, very curious. Overall, that's pretty much it for my discussion, actually. I have nothing else to say. It's a pretty good episode. I will say there's a lot of, again, just a lot of talks about the showbiz world and industry and all that stuff. I don't mind that at all. Like, honestly, I think like I said in my previous discussion, I think it is props to the show for baiting me into thinking that we're gonna be focusing more on the dark side of the idol industry, but nope, we're not gonna be focusing on that. No, we're actually gonna be focusing on the entertainment industry as a whole, and like actors and directors and stuff. And I'm like, oh, now you got my attention. So in that regard, yeah, this is fine. This is fine. It's not really my favorite show that is dealing with these types of situations, nor is it my favorite story that is dealing with these types of situations. There's other stories, movies, and shows, in my opinion, that are also tackling, you know, the topic of entertainment industry bad, but there's also the good things in there, and that's why we love them and all type stories. There's plenty of that I probably would enjoy more than Oshinoko, but Oshinoko is doing a pretty good job at making me, you know, still feel invested and interested. Yeah, that's pretty much it for my discussion, actually. If you do enjoy my reaction and my discussion, even though it's a pretty short one, I would say, hit like, subscribe, as usual. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will see you all next time. Take care, have a nice day, peace.